Ms. Dance, we have a quorum. All board members are present. I'll ask Terry Tippett to conduct the invocation, and Kay Carroll, if you'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the new blessings you bestowed upon us, Father. Father, for the greatest gift of all, that gift of salvation, Father, you sent your Son down the cross. Father, we ask that you be with our school system, Father, be with all those involved in our school system, students, all the way up to our faculty, staff, everybody involved, Father. We just pray for their safety, their protection each and every day, Father. And Father, we pray that we can make decisions that are in their best interest and lead to enabling them to and assisting them to have productive lives in the future, Father. This we got direct us now. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll now accept a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, at this time I make a motion that we enter a closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318-11A1, 3, and 6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115-321 to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee and to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. I'll have a motion. I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Donovan. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 7-0. welcome you back to our board meeting. We have already had our invocation, our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have some really neat people in this room right now, and we want to get to you just as fast as we can. I do have a couple of things that we need to do. As we move through this agenda, first I need approval of the minutes. I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th, 2023 regular session. Motion by Mr. Carroll. I need a second. Second by Mr. Tippett. All those in, any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Next would be the approval of the March 14th closed session minutes. I ask a motion.
So move.
Mr. Wooten, I need a second. Second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Then I need approval of the closed session minutes from February 7th, 2023. I have a motion. I have a second.
Madam Chair, just as amended.
As amended, yes. That would be his motion. Okay, okay. The March 14th minutes were amended, but approved. Okay. So I have a motion for the February 7th. Now I need a second. Second by Mr. Donovan. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0. Thank you. All right, we'll move through the adjustments to the agenda. Mr. Johnston.
No adjustments.
Mr. Carroll.
No adjustment.
Mr. Donovan.
No adjustments.
Mr. Tippett.
No adjustments.
Mr. Wooten.
Madam Chair, I'd like to add consent for school nutrition contracted services. If you could add that to 9G4.
That'd be on the last item. Yeah. Okay, I have a motion to amend. Do I have any, Ms. Anton? Any?
Nothing.
Okay. I need a motion to, I'll let that serve as a motion, Mr. Wooten. Do I have a second for that amendment? A second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that will be added to the very last item. Okay, I will turn it over to Ms. Furr.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bracey, Madam Chair, Andrews, Vice Chair Tippett, members of the board, and Ms. Cornetto. As you can see, we have a packed house with you tonight, and this is group 1 of 5. So this is going to be a fun time for us tonight. Let me first share with our family who's here with us tonight. If your loved one is here being recognized, this is your boardroom. Please feel free to get up, move around the room, go behind the board, take pictures, take your phones, go up there and see your baby's faces. That is A-okay. You can do that if you'd like to at this time. And we really mean it. Please feel free to move. All right, and so we're going to start tonight with our academic competition recognitions, and while these parents take us up on that honor, I'm going to have Ms. Dorlisa Johnson-Cowart come forward, and she's going to kick things off.
Thank you, Caitlin. Good evening, Dr. Bracey and board members. Our CIA department is excited to recognize our JCPS students and coaches for their outstanding achievements in our academic competitions for the 22-23 school year. We will begin this evening with recognizing our Poetry Out Loud competition winners. And if we have our Poetry Out Loud folks, please come forward. I do know we have a few that are not here. Yeah, come on. Terrific. Thank you. So we have our winner for Poetry Out Loud, and that was Courtney Lassiter from Smithfield Selma High School, and she was coached by Greer Suggs. And they are actually out of the country as part of the IB Denmark partnership. But if we could give them a big hand. And then our next winner is here. This is Kylie Brooks from Early College Academy. She is coached by Amanda Rowland, who also is our competition sponsor and host with Early College Academy. Let's give her a big hand. And you can actually, either way, you can go through there and shake hands and all that good stuff. Our next group that we will be recognizing is our math counts group. And this is a middle school competition. Very excited. It was in person this year, and our students did a fabulous job at this competition. We're going to start with our first place winners, Cleveland Middle School team, if y'all can come forward for our first place winners. And when I call your names, if you will just put your hand up, since we're going to have big groups, just so our board members and all of our folks can see who you are, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. We have Oren Lamb, Mohammed Alam, Josie Parrish, Olivia Tolentino. The coaches are Casey Atkinson and Carrie Cooper. Let's give them a big hand. And y'all can walk through and shake the hands. And these students should not go far. We're going to see them again. Okay. For second place, we have North Johnston Middle School. If those students can come forward, please. And again, just put your hand up when I call your name so folks can see exactly who you are. We have Aiden Ernst, Angelina May, Justin Carrillo, and Sophia Zonobi. Coaches are Kimberly Cuddington and Michael Maurer. Let's give them a big hand. Right, y'all can go forward and shake hands. And our third place winner is Cleveland Middle School, another team from Cleveland Middle. If y'all will come forward as well. Perfect. We have for third place for Cleveland Middle, we have Henry Blackman, Rachel Amand, Arby King, and Colin Cruel. Coaches, Casey Atkinson and Carrie Cooper. Let's give him a big hand and the whole team. Y'all can shake hands. All right. We now have our top 3 overall winners. Please come forward as I say your name for these students. For first place, we have Marley Barber with Meadow School. We have for second place, Oren Lamb for Cleveland Middle. And for third place, we have Olivia Tolentino from Cleveland Middle, and Oren is also from Cleveland Middle. Let's give them a big hand. And can you all stay for one moment, because I'm going to be saying many of these names again. Longest winning streak, this is for the top countdown round mathletes, is Mohammed Alam. Please come forward if you're still here. First place is Oren Lamb. Second place, Marley Barber. And third place, Olivia Tolentino. If you all give them a big hand and you can shake hands. And I do want to thank JCC. We used their facility for this event, and they were so helpful with that. So thank you to JCC as well. We're going to move on now to Spelling Bee. This is an elementary and middle school competition. Elementary school for first place. If you all will come forward, if you were first place for the elementary school, and that's Emily Wood. Come on over, Emily. Emily is from Meadow School, and she's coached by Leisha Scholler. And yes, she's right there. She can come on forward, too. Let's give her a big hand, and then you can shake the hands of everybody. All right, now second place for Spelling Bee Elementary School, Sophia Radford. If you're here, come on forward from South Smithfield Elementary. And she was coached by Charlene Sproul. Let's give her a big hand. And our third place is Cole Johnston. Cole, if you'll please come forward. Cole from Riverwood Elementary and coached by John Foote. Let's give him a big hand. And you can go forward and shake hands. Okay, now we're going to move into our middle school spelling bee champions here. First place, Olivia Tolentino. Come on forward from Cleveland Middle School. She was coached by Sue Miller. And do you remember your winning word? Memes. Something very, very common for our teenagers today. And coached by Sue Miller, of course. And so let's give her a big hand. And you go around and shake hands. And let me also share this about Olivia. She will be moving to the Scripps National Spelling Bee at the end of May. She also was chosen from Scripps to be in a promotion video. There were only, I believe, only 3 students that were selected for this. So she's going to represent herself, of course, in Johnston County Public Schools. So we're very excited to see that video. Second place winner, Connor, come on forward here. Connor Calloway from Riverwood Middle School, coached by Melissa Martin. Awesome job. Let's give him a big hand. And you can go ahead and shake hands. Connor, you can shake hands. Yeah. Awesome. And for third place, Carson Loy, come on forward from Innovation Academy, coached by Sean Comerford. Let's give him a big hand. Awesome. And you go around and shake hands. You can shake hands. Perfect. Okay, and our teams are going to get bigger. Here we go. Our next group is Battle of the Books Elementary. Okay. Thank you, parents. So, thank you. Thank you, Clint. All right. If we could have our elementary school winners come on right to the front. And for first place, we'll put you on this side and this side. We can split the 2 teams up. We want to make sure everyone can see your faces. Beautiful. Good. And we'll put some right over here. You can stand up. Oh, you put every. Okay, they're going to put you out again. Oh, you are totally fine. Totally fine. Okay, we are going to recognize our elementary Battle of the Books winners. And I do want to say we literally just had this competition. Literally, right before spring break. So, and students, when I call your name, if you could raise your hand so our board members and everybody at home can see who you are as well. Okay? Okay, so here we go. This is Pine Level Elementary School. And participants are Aniston Cheers, Ella Gray, McKinley Holder, Giovanni Knight, Sawyer Murray, Avery Scott, Audrey Smith, Layla Stewart, Carter Thornton, and Logan Willoughby. Coaches are Karen Parker and Jennifer Bear. Let's give them a big hand. We'll switch things up this time. Oh, wow. Behind the board if you would like to and take pictures. And while they're coming in, I just want to say about Battle of the Books. These kids do read so many novels to be successful with this. I was part of the middle school competition. I was the scorekeeper. And they work very hard. There's a lot for them to remember. So excellent job to all of these students. So our middle school winners. This is North Johnston Middle School. And here are the participants. Yamalat Abaca Hernandez, Madison Brock, Michaela Brown, Savannah Creech, Avery Hinnant, Bella Key, Claire Cornegay, Dalton Langston, Zachary Stanley, McKenna Swan, and JC Yarber. The coaches, Cindy Pettigrew and Tanya Hoy. Let's give them a big hand. And if you guys want to start, we can shake hands. Board member, go right around. That'll be fine. Yeah. Go ahead, McKenna. Go right ahead. Goal. We'll give them a minute. They're still celebrating. The team could not be here tonight, but of course their pictures are up there, and they are familiar faces. They also won last year, I believe, as well. So for Clayton High School, the participants, Callista Campos, Sarah Duquay, Riley Ferguson, Avery Faltz, Alaya Gibson, Kennedy Knight, Ethan Morris, Saskia Parrish, and Savannah Quintus. And the coach is Deanne Holcomb. So let's give them a big hand, and you two can go ahead and shake hands. All right, this group that we have right here, this is an elementary team, and this is for Science Olympiad. They were varsity first place overall, and this is Polenta Elementary School. And students, as I say your name, if you could raise your hands so our board members and folks at home can know who you are when I say your name. Cyrus McLeave, Chloe Cavallaro, Nolan Smith, Nolan Vaughn, Bryson Keegan, Paige Bradley, Corbin DeCourcy, Maeve Eaton, Lucas Benkin, Juliana Lampam, Clarity Butler, Luke Spears, Garrett Brown, Elena Webb, and Waylon Fitzgerald. And the coach is Kelly Davis. Let's give them a big hand. And you all can go around and shake hands. Yeah, go right ahead. We would also like to thank, we have two people who are over at Cornholders High School, Andy and Wendy Saravasan. They do a lot of work for our Science Olympiad, and so we really want to thank them for all the organization and planning as well. There's also several people who make these competitions possible. We have that listed on the slide, but there's really so many people who are involved in it. We'd like to certainly thank all of our students for all their hard work. They are so dedicated to the work that they do. It is hard work, to say the least. We would also like to say thank you to our coaches. If we didn't have our coaches, this would not be possible. So we're so thankful for our teacher coaches that we have. All of our CIA and community volunteers, our central staff organizers, they're listed up there: Amanda Bird, Kayla Boykin, Leanne Daughtry, Stephanie Hamont, Jennifer Lowry, and Mackenzie Yarborough. I'd also like to thank our school administrators for all that they do as well in making this possible. And then also for our parents and our families for their commitment to their students as well. So thank you for that. I think this is a different group. They're all good? Okay. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson, and thank you again to those outstanding students. It is very exciting to have all those large groups with us. Last month it was all athletics, and this month it's all academics, because we do it both here in Johnston County Schools, which is wonderful. The next group I have before you are the students who have been selected to attend Governor's School. And if you have been selected to attend Governor's School, if you want to just come file through right here on this side of me and on this side, and if you are a parent of someone who is here to attend Governor's School, please feel free to get up and come stand behind the board. This is your boardroom. You can take pictures however you would like. So come on in and get comfortable. You can stand on this side, baby. Yeah, no problem. Governor's School still? All right. The North Carolina Governor's School is a 4-week summer residential program for gifted and talented high school students, integrating academic disciplines, the arts, and unique courses on each of their 2 campuses. Learning focuses on the exploration of the most recent ideas and concepts in each discipline, and it does not involve credit, tests, or grades. Students are selected to attend through a competitive process after being nominated by their school. This year, we had a record-breaking 18 students selected to attend Governor's School. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, we almost have all 18 here with us tonight. So when I call your name, if you will, please raise your hand. When we're finished, we'll give you all a big group round of applause, and then you'll go through, and we'll start with you down here, baby, and we'll come through and shake hands, okay? All right. First up, we have Chloe Bossman from Clayton High. Sabrina Cafaro from Clayton High, Addison Zucker, Clayton High, Christian Cabascongo, Cleveland High, Isabella Casanova Lopez, Cleveland High, Mia Roldan, Cleveland High, Grace Spivey, Cleveland High, Jason Espinosa Moreno, Corinth Holders High, Brianna Garner, Corinth Holders High, Preston James, Corinth Holders High, Patricia Amory, Princeton High. Ooh, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Abby, Smithfield Selma High. Please forgive me, baby. It's important to me to say names correctly. Say your name for me. She said it best. Thank you so much. Sam Bullock, Smithfield Selma High. Denasia Dixon, Smithfield Selma High. Michael Schmidt, Smithfield Selma High. Maya Musser, West Johnston High. Sydney Springle, West Johnston High. Congratulations to these outstanding students. Oh, I missed one? I'm so sorry. Natalie Neal, you get your own moment. Natalie, where are you? Come here, Natalie. Natalie Neal. Hold on, we're going to let him finish. You don't like this, do you? Okay. Hold on, wait. Y'all don't look at Natalie because she does not like this moment in the sun, but I read so fast, I skipped over this baby's name, and that is my bad. Miss Natalie Neal from Corinth Holders High. Thank you. Please go around. Congratulations. And yes. Mama, I apologize. I won't do it again. Me and Reagan are friends. And y'all see me being casual with Reagan because Reagan is no stranger to this boardroom. If you were here with us last year, you know Reagan Williford. If you're a new board member, you are in the presence of an outstanding individual. Come on up. This is Reagan Williford. She is a student at South Johnston High School, and you name it, she does it. She's amazing. This year, we are recognizing her for being a nominee for the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program. The U.S. Presidential Scholars Program was established by President Lyndon Johnson in 1964. And since that time, the program has honored over 8,000 outstanding high school seniors. The mission of the program is to recognize and honor outstanding high school seniors and thereby encourage high attainment among all students. The NC Department of Public Instruction Presidential Scholars Nomination Committee selected 19 nominees from the entire pool of submissions in the state of North Carolina, and Reagan is one of those. The nominees came through an extensive committee review process and were invited to apply at the national level for the Department of Education U.S. Presidential Scholars Recognition. Somebody asked me before, where's Reagan going to school? I said, she probably gets to make her choice. I have no idea. So where are you going to go to school? There you go, UNC Chapel Hill. All right, so give a congratulations to Miss Reagan Williford. You can go She also works with Catherine Truitt. You name it, she does it. I mean it. Yeah, she's everywhere. And you should see her senior pictures because they're beautiful. Thank y'all so much. Next, we have Mr. Dylan Williams. Did you bring your award? All right. Okay. I don't often get to do this kind of cool award, but Dylan is a student from Clayton Middle School. In March, he was recognized for receiving the Scouting Medal of Merit Award at the Boy Scouts Council banquet. Dylan was nominated for this award after he helped a friend who was choking with the Heimlich maneuver during lunch. The assistant principals at Clayton Middle eagerly wrote references and character letters on his behalf so that he could receive this national merit. The National Certificate of Merit recognizes those who have performed significant acts of service that are deserving of special national recognition. Congratulations, Dylan, and we are certainly proud to call you one of our students. Character education, you come on and stand next to us. Either side works for me. G, you be on this side. Asma, you can be on this side. I make friends with these kids, but while y'all are in closed session, it's like the best part. Come up here, baby. You can stand right here. Come on now. I didn't get to meet you yet, but I know who you are. All right, while they're filing in, we're going to get started. Parents, if you're here for character education, if you would like to come up and take a photo, you're welcome to come behind the board member. Come on, I know you're going to get your picture. Let's do this. You got to stand behind the board, take a photo, make yourself comfortable, and go up behind them. You can go around, go right behind them. All right. So these are our character education students. Each month, the Johnston County Board of Education recognizes students who have exemplified good character in their school. We'll recognize each student, then have them come around and shake each of our board members' hands at the end. First up is Sawyer Perry, a third grade student at Princeton Elementary where Miss Melissa Hurst is principal. Sawyer was nominated by his teacher, Miss Stephanie Adams, for demonstrating perseverance this school year. At the beginning of the year, when given an assignment, Sawyer would often feel overwhelmed and defeated. He would become upset and would say he was unable to complete the work, but Miss Adams knew better. She would talk with Sawyer individually, always assuring him that everything would be okay, and she was there to help him. Sawyer's confidence started to grow, and with his hard work and effort, he has achieved so much growth. He has made significant progress this year and has thrived. The growth is due to Sawyer's hard work and effort, but without perseverance, this would not have been achieved. Congratulations, Sawyer. Next up is Gerardo, or G, as his friends like me call him, Hernandez, a 10th grade student at Princeton High School where Mr. Jarvis Ellis is principal. G is being recognized for demonstrating respect. He is a good student who cheerfully comes to school each day. He demonstrates the character trait of respect in all aspects of his student life, including the classroom and athletic field. He is seen as a leader by his peers and teachers. His teachers report that he is a pleasure to have in class and is always supportive of his classmates. He looks for the good in others and support others with positive affirmations and a caring attitude. Gerardo interacts with others by always looking at different points of view and respecting the differences others may have on a topic. Congratulations, G. And that is one proud mama, too. She is a very proud mama. Next is Ure Alvarado Martinez, an 8th grade student at Smithfield Middle, where Miss LaShonda Faison is principal. She is being recognized for demonstrating responsibility. She maintains a high GPA while being active in the Student Government Association, AVID, and other activities. She has set goals for her life and has a plan on how to achieve those goals. Ure wants to become a middle school teacher. In order to reach this goal, she has applied to the JOCO Teach program. She is always willing to tutor her peers, and when they need additional help with an assignment, She is a joy to teach and a wonderful friend, a positive role model for younger students. Her positive attitude, strong work ethic, and integrity will take her far in life. Congratulations. And I apologize, I'm not sure why this photo hasn't loaded, but you are here with us today. Next is Asma Awahashi, a senior at Smithfield High School, where Mr. David Allen is principal. Asma is being recognized for demonstrating perseverance. She is a student who comes to us from Yemen, who has learned to speak English at a very fast rate while showing her academic strengths. She is so committed to learning a new language that now she is also taking and accelerating at her Spanish courses so that she can communicate better with her family and friends. Asma earned principal's list for quarter 2 as she excelled in Math 3 and will earn honor roll for the 3rd quarter this semester while enrolled in Honors Math 4 and Honors Earth and Environmental Science. Her teachers comment that she has a desire to learn and is a pleasure to have in the classroom. Asma was nominated by her ESL teacher as a show of pride for her perseverance and resilience as a newcomer to the United States. Congratulations, Asma. And next but not least is Mr. Christian Perez Montes, a kindergarten student at South Smithfield Elementary, where Ms. Kim Wellens is an interim principal. Christian is being recognized for demonstrating fairness. He is able to celebrate the differences of others that make all people unique. He understands that other people experience the world differently than he does, and he is okay with that. He looks for opportunities to have personal relationship with others that allow him to see a different perspective. He encourages his peers to try new things and treat others the way that he wants to be treated. He understands that he is a part of a bigger community of learners, that all learners should be valued for their diversity and treated fairly. He wants to give everyone in the classroom a chance to speak up and to be heard and seen. He is respectful of his teachers and peers, and he does not judge others. Let's give these students a round of applause. Oh, and I have you guys' certificates. I'm sorry. Christian? I'm so sorry, guys. G? Asma? I knew I was doing something backwards this month. Uri? And Sawyer. Thank you, guys. One more round of applause for them. All right, next up is our new celebration, which is our PLC of the month. Hang on just one second.
You want me to do Employee of the Month while you're getting that set up?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do Employee of the Month because they're here with us?
Yeah, that'll get
Sure,
you,
we'll do that
give you
while
time
we're
to set up. Good afternoon, everyone. Always a pleasure to stand before you and recognize wonderful employees. We have 2 such employees today. First, I'd like to ask Ms. Sylvia Taylor, many of you know Ms. Taylor, to join me. Ms. Taylor is the head custodian here at the Simpson Building, and you have seen her a lot, I'm sure, and we get the benefit of sitting in a nice, clean environment because of her as well. Ms. Sylvia is a treasure to have in the Simpson Building as head custodian. Not only does she complete all of her tasks with high efficiency, she does it with a smile. Our workplaces are kept clean, smell wonderfully, and maintained safely for us to have a great place to work. Often the workplace is a home away from home. So how and what it looks like matters. She is both expedient and efficient in getting work orders submitted to ensure everything functions properly like a well-oiled machine. Miss Sylvia always has a smile on her face and an encouraging word for everyone she meets. A quick visit or hello from Miss Sylvia brightens the day. Anyone who enters the Simpson building and comes on the campus knows she maintains high-quality standards for appearance, safety, and the well-being of all who work here. Most importantly, she cares about the people. Ms. Sylvia, thank you so much for what you do. Congratulations on being our Classified Employee of the Month. You want to walk around? A few more goodies for you as I share with you. Congratulations. Our Certified Employee of the Month is Miss Allison Rodenberry. Miss Rotenberry is a teacher at Swift Creek Middle, and they had so many wonderful things to say about you. Miss Rodenberry is such a blessing to have at Swift Creek Middle School for our family and consumer sciences students. She is also our FCCLA chapter advisor, as well as helps lead our first priority club at Swift Creek. This is her first year at Swift Creek and teaching middle school, but wow, the impact she has already made on students' lives. Ms. Rodenberry is always encouraging and striving to push students to their next level in and out of the classroom. She recently took 4 students to the state FCCLA competition, and they all came home with either silver or gold medals. Without her hard work, dedication, and countless after-school hours, the completion and the eventual success wouldn't have been possible. She is such a great role model to these students, demonstrating patience, kindness, professionalism, and teaching them next-level skills, all while having fun. Ms. Rodenberry, thank you so much for what you do each and every day for our school system and at Swift Creek Middle School. Congratulations. And if you want to walk around. And some goodies for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate what you do. Thank you.
So sorry about that hiccup, but we worked hard to get those pictures, so I want you to be able to enjoy them. Our last celebration is our PLC, or Professional Learning Community of the Month, and our CAI team has put this together as a way to recognize outstanding groups of educators. Our elementary PLC of the month for 5th grade is the team at Dixon Road, for this month is the 5th grade team at Dixon Road Elementary. This is a very cohesive and collegial team that supports each other and each other's students. They've been together for a few years and worked so well together that even if the school did not have planned PLCs, they would still collaborate to ensure that they brought their best to their students. Members of this PLC have also collaborated to create district assessments that have been used in schools across the district. One of the strengths of this team is their ability to differentiate and meet the needs of all of their students. Their data from MVPs also highlights the strength in meeting the needs of their students and closing the learning gaps that some students present with. It has been an honor to observe and witness such a great team. The middle school PLC of the month is the 7th grade social studies team at Clayton Middle. This PLC team embodies all of the desired qualities of a social studies team. They work together to provide their students with meaningful experiences that extend their students' knowledge and real-world skills. They are involved in school-wide efforts to bring students together for causes that benefit local and global communities. And the high school PLC of the month is the biology team at West Johnston High. This PLC works collaboratively to identify student strengths and weaknesses in order to individualize instruction during class times, as well as during remediation opportunities. This team constantly analyzes data, putting student scores in front of the individual learners to encourage their ownership of their learning. They consistently meet, reflect, and revise strategies and assignments to maximize student learning. And the woman in the middle there was one of my high school teachers, and I can say that she is one of the best teachers in the game. So let's give all of them a round of applause. And the last thing I have for you this evening, and you'll see it's small font, but you've got it in your packet. It is a comprehensive list of wonderful things happening in the county this month from from schools all across our district, from track meets to choral concerts to you name it, it's on there. We've put it together for you. We hope that you can put some of these things on your calendar and get out and support our students. You've got that in your packets as well as on the agenda. And that is all I have for you at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move into our reports from our board committees. But prior to that, I just wanted to add a couple of dates, things that the board has going on. I don't believe they're on the save the date. On April, our board is anxious to learn as much as we can, to be trained as much as we can, to have a clearer understanding every day of what's taking place within our schools. So April 19th, the board will have a work session training. It will be here in the boardroom. This will all be posted, but from 9 to 12, we will receive training from our attorneys. And then from after, we'll have to take a break for lunch, and then after that, we will have some discussion about our alternative school. On May the 2nd, we will have another work session training board meeting as a whole board. And in that meeting, we will have some presentations and some information shared with us about the panorama. So just want the public to know that. We're looking forward to these opportunities to expand our knowledge on these items. And now we'll go through the committees. Finance Committee, Mr. Wooten.
Yes, ma'am. We have not met since the last meeting, but we plan to meet probably the last week of this month. I know that the budget is being worked on by Mr. Britt and departments among the school system. I know Dr. Bracy is supposed to have all his budget initiatives in by the 17th of this month, so we plan to meet. It will be a public meeting sometime after the 17th when all the initiatives of the budget are put together for at least a first run or a proposal of what the budget would be for next school year, because we have to have it in front of the county commissioners by May 15th. So between the 17th of April and May 15th, we plan on having a 3-on-3 with the county commissioners to roll out what we plan to do with the budget so we can approve it and get it to the county commissioners by the 15th of May. So we got a lot to do in the next 30 days. Also, I'd like to bring up, there's a House Bill 219 that's floating around in the House that's going to be a detriment to public school funding in the future if it were to ever pass. I would hope that the representatives that represent Johnston County or read this bill thoroughly, and it is detrimental to public school funding. And but Legislative Committee, Michelle Anton is going to give us an update on the bill. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Tippett, policy?
We have met, and again, I remind you, we meet on Thursdays after the board meeting, so we'll meet again Thursday at 2 o'clock. It is an open meeting. I invite the public to attend. In addition, there will be on the website all the policies that are being reviewed for a first reading. Feel free to go on those. It gives you an opportunity to respond and give your feedback to Dr. Pierce. He will bring that to the committee. So if, again, if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to go on that website and take care of it there.
Okay, I skipped over you. Legal Committee, Mr. Carroll, anything?
No report.
And I'll stay right there with you on Bond Committee. Any
No
report?
report.
Okay. And Legislative Committee, Ms. Anton.
The committee met. We went over all of the House bills on education that would affect our district. We look forward to covering the Senate bills at the next meeting. We specifically addressed House Bill 219 that Mr. Wooten just referenced. It would create expansive funding implications for our schools if this is actually passed, and it is regarding awards of funds to charter schools. Lynn agreed to take a look at it. As written, the bulk of the bill is not impactful to us. It is the last section of the bill that seeks to move our grant funding and other funds that we specifically acquire for our district over to charter schools, which would be inequitable, and we are strongly against. Although one of the bills has the language struck that would be a problem, we want to make sure our legislatures understand that charter schools deserve funding, but they do not deserve the public schools funding. The next thing we did, we were all committed to drafting a resolution against the Pathways to Excellence, which is the new teacher credentialing proposal that the DPI has forwarded to our legislators. All of our members are looking to bring some compelling reason to add to a resolution and hopefully get past this board. We all agree that it is going to be a problem for our district if this passes through. I drafted the cover to our resolution on calendar flexibility. It's going to accompany the resolution that we passed in February, and our North Carolina Senator Benton Story has agreed to deliver it to Senator Berger's office, and hopefully it will help add to the bulk of local education agencies that want calendar flexibility. We have a legislative breakfast that's going to be happening on April 24th at 8 a.m. And our next legislative committee is going to convene April 27th at 9 a.m. And we love the public to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bracy?
Madam Chair, at this time I ask that the board approve consent items numbers 1 through 10.
Okay,
I have a point of order. We missed public comment.
We'll do that at 6. So we'll go until we get to that, yeah. Remind me, okay. I'm sorry. I have a motion by Mr. Carroll. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wooten. All those in favor of the superintendent's report consent items, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0. We'll keep going until we reach 6 o'clock. Dr. King?
Members, it's a pleasure to be before you this evening with just one information item. A few weeks ago, I was asked by Ms. Antoine to possibly share some information with the community about vaping. In 2019, when I was serving as the Director of Student Services in Albemarle County, Virginia, the Virginia legislature passed a bill that required community agencies in the state of Virginia to work collaboratively to address the issue of vaping at that time. And so as a result of that bill being passed, I was able to learn a good deal about the issue of vaping. And so what we'd like to do tonight is just share some brief information about the issue of vaping, what it is, how it works, and also share some information about some of the programs, initiatives that we have in our district to address the issue of vaping. So we'll start with what is vaping. And the vaping is basically the use of electronic cigarettes. And electronic cigarettes are these really interesting devices that use a variety of mechanisms to essentially activate a number of different kinds of material. It can be liquid material, sometimes oils, sometimes dry materials, and they are sold in our normal stores, and particularly troubling around them is that they are very easily, readily available to our children. Just some information. A recent study suggested that approximately 800,000 young people tried vaping for the first time in 2022 alone. Obviously, we are now in 2023. It stands to reason that number will again repeat itself in the next year, and will continue to do so if unabated. Some additional information for you there. 2.5 million high and middle school students currently use these items. That's the estimate, 2.5 million. I would argue that based on some information we're going to share with you later, any information you get about vaping, you should assume that information, those numbers are woefully undercounted, right? Woefully undercounted. So that's probably one in 4 students actually use these items daily. Most commonly, they use what are called disposables, and that is devices that are so inexpensive and so readily available. You use them once and you toss them in the trash and move on and pick up another one. And then the really egregious thing about them is that almost 85% of them use flavor in them. And as you can imagine, if you have bubblegum flavored material in an e-cigarette, that is not intended for an adult, right? That's not intended for an adult. Some information about what's going on in Johnston County Public Schools. Remember I said any information we give you about vapes, you can assume that that number is woefully underreported. Thus far this year, in terms of use of vapes and tobacco products in our school, we've had about 500 incidents. In terms of sale or distribution, we've had about 9 incidents in our schools. Again, I would be very clear with you. I promise you that number is woefully underreported. So why is vaping so difficult to address? And here's what's really important to understand about it. Number one, when I was a kid, things were very different. At my high school down in Wayne County, we had what was called a smoking patio. I don't know if any of y'all remember that. If your mom and daddy would sign on the dotted line, you could smoke cigarettes outside on the patio at my high school. Certainly that's not something that we do today. But to the benefit of the school administrators that worked with me, if I was using a cigarette, I wasn't going to really be able to get away with that because it came with a certain smell. One of the first and most significant problems and issues with vapes is that they do not smell like regular cigarettes. In fact, they are designed so that any scent, if there is a scent related to them, very quickly dissipates. And so a student, an individual, frankly, could be in this room right now using a vape, and we would not be able to detect that use through our normal olfactory kind of processes. Again, we talked about they come in many flavors like cotton candy, bubble gum, mango. These are specifically intended really to be attractive to young people, and of course, because of that, they are. Some e-cigarettes look like traditional cigarettes, not very many, or cigars or pipes, but others look like normal everyday items. And I thought I'd share with you all some examples of what some of them look like. And as you look at these next pictures, I want you to think about what this means for our administrators. And one of the reasons why I talked about why you can be assured that the number is woefully underreported. So this is what's called a flash drive vape. That is an actual picture of a vape, but as you can see, it looks just like a flash drive that any student would have in their possession for an appropriate purpose, for use to store materials in school. But that is actually a working vape. This is what's called a key fob vape, right? So this is again a working vape, but it looks just like the key fob that's in my pocket that I use to start my car this afternoon. And then final one I'd like to share with you is this one. This is what's called a pen vape. It is a working writing utensil, but it is also a vape. So as you can imagine, even with the very high-tech and effective material and resources that we've recently put into our school to identify things that folks aren't supposed to have, if a student walked through the metal detector with one of these and it alerted, and the principal asked him to let me see what's in your pocket. He pulls out what looks like a pen. It's not very much that the principal is going to be able to do because, again, these items are really created for the purpose of concealment and to be to allow people to use them clandestinely. Now, the one thing that's really important that lots of folks don't know is that the people that are working, doing the work around vapes, obviously they are at this time working very significantly to share, or I should say to sell these materials to our young people. And they happen to be people that we are quite aware of. What most folks don't know is about 10, 15 years ago, when the idea of vaping first caught wind and first kind of caught on, those companies, as they began to grow, were purchased, and they were purchased by some of our some folks that we all know and have had to work with before. So most of the vaping companies now are owned by the traditional cigarette companies. So these are the same folks who we worked and had to deal with for, many years, who were frankly selling young people cigarettes, telling us over 50, 60, 100 years that those materials were not harmful to us when they actually were. And if you go out and take a look around and look at the information about vapes that's out there, they are essentially doing the same thing now. They are giving folks the impression that these things are harmless, when in fact the research is very clear that it's not harmful. It is not harmless. One of the things that we know is that vapes and the material that you use in vapes now often include nicotine. As you may know, the law is such that you're only required to report the presence of nicotine if it's in certain quantities, right? And so very often the material that you use in a vape has nicotine in it, but not necessarily the amount that you need to report. And of course, sometimes the companies flat out refuse to admit that that material is there. The interesting thing, one of the most interesting things that I learned about vapes in my study of them, is that for a long time people suggested that vapes were a way to help people wean themselves off cigarettes, right, off traditional cigarettes. And that actually, in most cases and in many cases, is actually true. The interesting thing about that is that it has an inverse reaction for our students. So while use of vapes does help folks walk away from the use of cigarettes, folks who start out on cigarettes and move to vapes, they can tend to walk away from the use of cigarettes. But what we've learned over time is that students who start out using vapes, right, often end up using cigarettes, right? So it has a reverse kind of effect for young people. And in fact, young people who start out using vapes actually are more likely to end up caught up in the use of cigarettes. And of course, that's a very important issue for us to be thinking about. Uh-oh, I'm missing some slides. All right. So at this point, that's going to be the end of what I share relative to just some background about vapes. I'm going to ask our executive director for SEL, for Student Services, to come up, Dr. Allen, and she's going to talk to us about some of the programs that we've implemented and are in the process of implementing in our district to address this as an issue. I think I've got it.
Hopefully we can get, oh, thank you. I had it on my phone if not. Hopefully we can get the slides back to you. They were posted online last night. So 2 items to talk through with you about. Healthful living standards is something that we've always had from the state of North Carolina, DPI. I've got them linked to the slide deck that was online last night. We'll get that corrected for you. But those standards have developmentally appropriate stages for when you should introduce information to students. For example, in kindergarten, it's appropriate to talk about what items around the house might be dangerous. Whereas when you're getting closer to 4th and 5th grade, you're starting to introduce the concept of what tobacco is and then what alcohol is, and of course to avoid those items. As you get later on in school, you're talking more specifically about other substances. So those are standards that our educators have always known to follow. We have some additional response to vaping. We're currently finalizing some information that we've sought out from health science students. We wanted to go straight to the students because this is not an issue that adults can just decide this is how we'll correct vaping for our students. We were able to get responses from 339 students anonymously, and those are all high school students, and it was a voluntary participation for them to give feedback. Of those 339 students, about 55% of them feel like vaping is an issue. About 20% feel it's not an issue, 25% they're not quite sure. And then we have open responses where they have shared why they feel students are vaping and what they feel would support students in no longer vaping or preventing vaping. We have not gone through the what do we do in response closely enough to give you a good summary of that, but we have at a quick glance looking in why are students vaping. A lot of the trends that are coming out is addiction, trying to fit in with peers, and then also as a coping mechanism. So those are all things that we can work with as we think through what additional response can be. We have one more. Thank you. Okay. We have 3 schools in our district piloting right now an EverFi course called Vaping, Know the Truth. And those 3 schools are using this as a responsive intervention for students who have been caught vaping. As a preventative curriculum, we're looking at Catch My Breath. We've had 22 educators trained so far, and we're continuing to talk with some of our other curriculum department members to figure out what our next steps will be with that curriculum. We've just recently had the full training so that we can get perspective on what is actually included in the curriculum. And then we work very closely with a lot of community members, and we've had an annual event, Youth Tobacco Forum, that is in partnership with the Johnston Substance Use Prevention Group. And the date for this year's is not yet set. It's gonna be in May, so we'll push that out as soon as we have the actual date. But along with that event, Poe Health has always released a comprehensive guide for families and parents on it. Previously has been named tobacco use, so we talked about renaming it to make sure that we include vaping or some type of reference to e-cigarettes. And Poe Health is in agreement with us having open collaboration with school system employees helping get information and health department employees also giving information for collaboration. Kamitha, Mary. So we have 2 health educators from the Johnston County Public Health Department who are also here. I'd like to welcome you both up. This is the last slide, like come and be with me. They are phenomenal, and I've worked with them for quite a few years in talking about vaping as well. So that's the resource that I'm talking about us developing. We're also talking about having a resource that lives on our website with all the information that we gather so parents can reference it easily. And then we have annual campaigns, of course, like Red Ribbon Week. So do you want to speak about vaping in our community at all? Or just how wonderful the health department is and our partnership with you?
So thank you to the Board of Education. My name is Kamitha Fullwood. I'm the health education supervisor at the Johnston County Public Health Department. I've been there 17 years, and we have been working closely with the school systems. We went into the schools, I'd probably say 4 years ago, possibly. And we took a lot of information out to the staff to sort of introduce them to what some of the devices look like and also some of the long-term effects, the complications. We had what's called a tox box, which is actually actual vape devices. We passed them around so that they know what they would look like because they look like USB drives or key fobs or just any type of contraption. So we wanted to make sure they knew that what they were looking for. It was very well received. The staff really enjoyed it, but we are very happy to support any efforts that the school system decides to do.
So board members, we see this as a kind of a start to a process to continue to try to provide information to families. It's interesting to kind of see how this process plays out because Virginia, just like North Carolina, of course, being a southern state, spent many, many years in a very difficult position because tobacco certainly supported much of the state's revenue. And so it was very difficult for the state to kind of turn away from the support of the tobacco companies. But Virginia did that and then made the next step, which North Carolina really hasn't made as strongly yet, which is the shift away from the focus on cessation of cigarette smoking to a more broad cessation to include vaping. Virginia made that step a few years ago when folks began to realize that, you know, kids aren't really smoking cigarettes as much as they used to, traditional cigarettes. They're vaping, right? And so it's certainly my hope that over the next few years, the North Carolina legislature will get into this fight with us and designate some resources that we can use as school districts to continue the work of informing our families about the dangers of vaping and what happens with our young folks. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions or invite our guests to answer any that you might have relative to this issue at this time. Do we have a specific policy on vaping?
So I think our policy right now is more focused on tobacco. I don't know that we've shifted it all the way. Have we done that yet? Okay. 5026. All right.
I like the idea of, I'm sorry, what was your name? Kamitha. I like the name. I like the idea of sharing with students. I guess my question is, we need every student to hear this, and we need every parent. You know, it's got to be an effort between the school and the parent. What is the possibility of, and I know your data is middle and high. I'm not sure what our elementary principals would tell us if anything is an issue. Oh, was that K-12? Okay, I thought it was middle. There was one slide in there that was middle high, but that was nationally maybe. That was nationally, okay. I guess my question is, what is the possibility of putting this in front of our students at the beginning of a school year or whenever, and make sure every middle and high school student sits and attentive to this information?
So one of the things that we're doing, when I was in Virginia, we developed about a 10-page pamphlet that we were able to make available to all families in our community. I've asked my team to go back and look at that information. It's about 5 years old now, and revise it, and making sure that we have new and appropriate up-to-date information in it, and we will look at opportunities to share that information. In Virginia, we did a just kind of an information campaign. We did a couple of Connect Dead calls to pull families' attention to it as an issue. Then we shared that document, and we posted that document on our website. So we certainly will follow some of those steps as well. We see this as a long-term kind of activity. But that's some of the work that we're working on, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to engage with our partners at the health in the health department to support that work as well.
Dr. King, you want to go ahead? Dr. King, this is great. I'd also like to mention that not only does it have nicotine, but a lot of these that kids are carrying also have THC, and then even more dangerously fentanyl, which is the biggest issue that we're facing.
Absolutely. When I was hearing officer, students used these often. They have these pens that they use that are a little bit different, and it's so bad and so definitively easy to spot. I would do hearings, and I would know immediately from just the description of what the student did, what happened, and I could tell the parent, your child did this, and the kid would, of course, start out denying it, and within a few minutes, they'd admit, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So you're right. Frankly, the vapes with just the stuff in them, the juice in them is what I used to call it, is dangerous. But the ones that use the liquefied THC, that's even a step higher and even more challenging and dangerous for kids. So absolutely right.
I want to thank you, Dr. King, for doing such a thorough job and bringing it to us. And I asked you to do it because I had parents bringing it to me, very concerned with what's happening inside the schools with their own children. So
Absolutely.
You've done a phenomenal job. And to your point, the legislative body needs to quit these unfunded mandates. So they want us to make sure our kids are healthy, but they don't fund it. So we need to make sure, and hopefully at the legislative committee we can bring that up. Thank you.
Amen. Any other questions?
Thank you. I look forward to, once your team's able to put together, something, bring it back to us and let us know. I'm just very concerned that our students hear it and our parents hear it. And I realize, that you can't mandate parents hearing it, but I'm sure that many parents are not quite aware of what, and they want to be. And so if we can help with that, that would be great. And I understand, I would imagine that this is a significant problem in our middle schools and our high schools right now. I mean, it is around the country. We're not immune to that. Yeah. And we'd like to support the staff and the administration in our schools in every way possible to deal with this situation. This is not what's best for students.
Thank you, board members.
Or 6 o'clock? Okay. Okay, we'll go now to public comments. Thanks for waiting. Let me read thing here. It says tonight we have 5 speakers signed up for public comment. Citizens who have signed up to address the board during the public comment session will be recognized in the order in which they signed up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to present comments to the board. However, the public comment session will not exceed 60 minutes total, except by a majority vote of the board. The board suggests that specific personnel or student matters be addressed to the school principal, the Johnston County Public School System official responsible for the program or facility, or to the superintendent. Citizens who address the board shall not use language that is obscene, profane, threatening, containing fighting or inflammatory words or otherwise disruptive to the orderly conduct of this business. Any person who willfully interrupts, disrupts, or disturbs an official meeting and who, upon being directed to leave the meeting by the presiding officer, willfully refuses to leave the meeting may be found guilty of a Class 2 misdemeanor pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.17. Our first speaker for tonight is Erica Hall.
Hi, everyone. So the following are the illuminating reasons presented to parents as to why ABA therapists are not permitted to serve as one-on-one aides in a classroom setting. So the inclusion of ABA therapists would entail a significant amount of paperwork. There is no readily accessible option or a button to click on the IEP form to include outside professionals. There are concerns about the potential for an influx of requests for external professionals if permission were granted. The responsibility for supplying the therapist would fall on the school, adding to the administrative burden of doing their job. There would be a requirement to complete additional paperwork and background checks for the therapist. And number 6, although the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction policies do not explicitly prohibit such arrangements, some employees in the JCPS EC department have told parents otherwise. So a current sitting board member has endeavored to relocate 2 EC students from Clayton High School, which the state has classified as a retaliatory act. Board of Education has established this as a standard for responding to parents who provoke the wrong person. So regrettably, many parents have had to embark on an unyielding journey to collaborate with Johnston County Public Schools. Those who tirelessly advocate for their children's needs are often perceived as uncooperative and as a result, face cancellation of meetings by the administration. Acknowledging that each EC student has distinct needs and necessitates particular accommodations is crucial. Disregarding these needs because of a reluctance to adapt by specific individuals in the EC department of JCPS is unprofessional and unacceptable. Lastly, the excuse for canceling meetings with parents of EC students because they want all supportive parties in attendance like a caseworker is shameful. Announcing you can't provide specific accommodations because there is no button for you to click is ridiculous. Making excuses for not wanting to do your job is one thing, but there is no excuse that EC students are getting physically hurt because there are individuals in this public school system who find it easier to do nothing or the very bare minimum. I know each EC student is unique, has different needs, and has various goals to achieve. So in May's general meeting, I will be interested in to see what the EC Executive Director, Jennifer McClure, and her team will present and communicate with the public, because these EC students deserve a lot better than what they're getting right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alan Hall.
How's it going? I'm here today to discuss the dangers of abandoned books and the importance of protecting our children's right to read. I recently read that a JCPS parent of a child at Dixon Road Elementary felt like newly elected board members had promised what they deemed inappropriate would be eliminated from our public schools. My least favorite board member advised the parent to go after the principal. Then they finished with, and I quote, "I'd be happy to try and address this, although I have little belief the other conservative members will take action. I share your frustration. We've seen a rise in book banning efforts across the country. Groups like Moms for Liberty are leading the charge. They're targeting books they deem inappropriate or harmful to children. What exactly is inappropriate? Who gets to decide what's harmful? It depends on who you ask. What's clear is these groups are using their power to elect school board members to censor books they disagree with. They're not just targeting books about LGBTQ+ issues or the boogeyman critical race theory. They also target books about history, science, and even classic literature. When we censor books, we're not just limiting children's access to information, we're also limiting their ability to think critically and form opinions. I want to talk about a book called My Shadow is Purple. It's written by Scott Stewart. This is the book and our book banning school board member are against. This book is a heartwarming story about a young boy who learns to embrace his identity as a gender nonconforming boy. It has helped countless children feel seen and accepted, which is so important when we consider the ongoing American endemic of school shootings. In My Shadow's Purple, Stewart writes, "My shadow loves playing with all sorts of toys, things loved by girls and things loved by boys. I'm ready to rock and I'm feeling so cute. My mom made my skirt and my dad made my suit. My shadow, it gawks. A child walks in the middle, looks up and talks. There's more than two colors our shadows can be. I was too scared before, but blue is not me." These powerful words speak to children's hearts and minds everywhere, and they're words that should be heard, not silenced. What's harmful about a book that teaches children about acceptance and love? What's dangerous about a book that helps children feel like they belong? The answer is absolutely nothing. In fact, books like My Shadow is Purple are essential for helping children grow up to be kind, compassionate, and understanding adults. They teach children about diversity and inclusion, and they teach children about the importance of being true to themselves. It teaches children to not be bullies. We hear so much about bullying. Then when books are written that teach children that it's okay to be different, we have people want to ban them. So I urge you to stand up to book banning here in Johnston County. As a school board, you should protect our children's right to read, not limit access to information and the stories they need to grow up to be the best people they can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is April Lee.
Good evening, Chairwoman Andrews, Vice Chair Tippett, Dr. Bracy, and members of the board. My name is April Lee, and I come to you tonight as a mother, a tax-paying resident of Johnston County, and as a constituent. I'm no longer a Johnston County Schools employee. However, that does not stand in my way as a true advocate for public schools, for teachers and staff, for our communities, and for our kids. It is imperative that all kids have a voice. This includes, but is not limited to, black kids, brown kids, white kids, straight kids, queer kids, trans kids, Muslim kids, Christian kids, atheist and agnostic kids. Yes, all of them. Not just ones who look like me, love like me, or worship like me. I also want to speak about our metal detectors. I have some concerns. These detectors are great at detecting binder rings and computers, but maybe they're not so great at detecting knives. They are set up in front of our entrances, but about half or more of our kids enter our buildings through the bus entrances. They provide a false sense of security, and frankly, our schools should never feel like prisons. I truly believe that this is an issue that can't be fixed by our BOE. Our legislators have failed to protect our children for the last 25 years. And last, I want to speak about the unethical behaviors of a board member. To speak out about a district employee on social media, to commit libel, is one of the lowest acts you can do. It is a desperate attempt to discredit someone when you are eyeballs deep in the controversy yourself. Focus on our staff, focus on our kids, and our actual issues in our district. Do better.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jim Davenport.
Good evening, Board. I speak again on school safety, but first, I demand as a taxpayer and grandparent that the distractions plaguing the Board to come to an end, that the Board must move forward and work as elected. 9 years ago, I was asked to run for sheriff. I was a write-in, as I wanted to get certain issues changed. I ran on a platform of having an SRO in every school and a training school staff and parents to make sure that nothing happened like what happened in Uvalde against an active shooter. Instead, the sheriff used my platform ideas, better pay, rifles and cars and tasers, but no SROs. In 2018, I was asked to come before the board and present school security ideas. What came from that was SROs for middle schools. We still have almost no SROs in all of our elementary schools. Had I been elected sheriff, SROs would have been in all JOCO schools 6 to 7 years ago. That was still a time when police recruiting was strong. It is not good now. I do not trust the school security specialists employed by JOCO, as they have no active experience in mass shootings. I have no faith in our SROs, as we don't know of their training background or experience. Numerous requests for that have gone to the sheriff because the schools aren't allowed to have the information about the SROs. That is all held by the sheriff. These are my training certificates. These are most of them. I have about 10 that were framed and given to me in frames. So I'm not afraid to show mine to anybody. I retired as an advanced North Carolina police officer. And if schools and sheriffs are proud of the training of their people, they show it, just like you show it in your awards, just like it's displayed. You know their training, you know their background. And so we never see their training records either. They're hidden by the sheriff's attorney and personnel laws. These are the same non-transparent laws DSS recently hid behind, the charter school in Clayton, et cetera, has hidden behind. We as taxpayers and parents have a right to know these things. The lack of transparency has impeded a report that I promised the board several years ago. The fact we have no SROs in our schools, in the elementary schools, is yet another excuse because of staffing and the lack of qualified police officers. I'm tired of excuses. Excuses aren't going to make it if kids and teachers are killed. We have 146 mass shootings in the United States, which is more than one per day. It is coming here. JCC had a lockdown, numerous bomb threats, have occurring students outside, sending students outside and vulnerable. A threat was poorly handled by the Clayton Charter School. Again, we need complete security measures. Every school can still be breached. Do not continue to gamble with the lives of our teachers, aides, and students.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. Our last speaker is Elisa Pelham. Oh, thanks.
Good afternoon. This is my first time speaking in front of the school board, so I appreciate the opportunity. As you can see, I've got two little ones here with me. They've been very good, amazingly. They are students at Powhatan Elementary, and I will say, just like most parents nowadays, you know, when we turn on the news, we look at the Nashville shooting, we look at what happened in Uvalde. I grew up, I did not have to worry about mass shooter drills. I was 18, maybe 17 when Columbine hit, and this is a reality that I have to deal with my children. I realize, and I think, you know, quite frankly, after Sandy Hook and after Uvalde and seeing, you know, in Parkland, that right now our elected officials don't seem to have the wherewithal to do what most Americans really want them to do. You know, my family is we own guns, so, you know, I do support the Second Amendment, but I think that a lot of us do want common sense gun reform. In the absence of that, I can't go into my children's school nowadays and not see soft points. I see glass entrances. I see side doors. We recently did in Powhatan, we did get the metal detectors. We do have them at the school bus entrance, and we have them at the regular entrance, and I appreciate that. We have an SRO officer, so we appreciate that as well, but you know, I've got one child at this end of the school, the other one at this end of the school. They're one classroom outside of a side door, and I'm wondering what else can be done to really protect our schools and to really secure those soft access points. I hate the idea that my children may have to learn in a prison type environment, but the truth is that those are my children. I think we've all probably got children, we love children, grandchildren. It's like our heart is walking outside of our bodies. And if something were to happen to them, I couldn't go on. So what I'm asking for each of you, or from you all, is to, you know, in the absence of gun reform, which common sense gun reform, what all are you going to do to make sure that our schools are more secure, because they are our most important assets. They're our future, and we need to make sure that we secure them. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. That concludes our public comments. I believe I turn it over to Mr. Moore? Okay, I'm sorry. They tell me they need a break. Okay. All right, I'm sorry.
That would happen.
Trying to be a good leader here. Okay, let's take a, can we do it in 5 minutes? Okay. Back, Mr. Moore.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I do have a few items here for you. My first one is package one of the HVAC controls upgrades. So, as you know, as we've been discussing for some time now, the design of these, and we have bid our first package. They are the brains of the systems in our school, and this project will overhaul the controllers, the sensors, the thermostats, the valves, the graphics, the schedules and trends, and then we will finish out with balancing and testing of commissioning the system. So an RFP was advertised, and 3 bids were received on March 21st of this year. Schneider Electric provided the lowest bid in the amount of $1,360,000. $1,360,300. And additional owner's contingency of $130,000 is also requested to cover any unforeseen issues determined during construction. And I will say that we actually got one under bid this time. This is it's very tough these days with budgets and all, but this one is under bid. So we do. It is starting at South Johnston High School and some at West Campus and Choice Plus. So being the age of those buildings, we hope to use that budget for other mechanical items as well. So just background with that. This is a ESSER funded project for action.
Okay, it is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Donovan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wooten. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor of approving this action item, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
All right, thank you. All right, my next 3 are continuing with kicking off the 2022 bond. The first one is a CM contract for the high school. We did select Barnhill Contracting out of Rocky Mount, NC, after doing a RFQ process and interviews. After negotiating with them, we got them to a CM fee of 3.25%, a pre-construction fee of $360,000, and the estimated general conditions of $3,557,979, which is for their field staffing, field office, insurance, bonds, etc. Construction is estimated and planned to take 2 years, starting next spring, and we are on track to open that high school in the 2026 school year. This is a 2022 bond funded project for action.
This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Wooten. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Donovan. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of this contract with Barnhill, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
Thank you. All right, and the second of the 3 is for the new elementary school. We selected Balfour Beatty after that RFQ and interview process. Negotiated them to a construction management fee of 3.5%, a pre-con fee of $160,000, and general conditions of $1,308,727 again for the construction staff and field office, all of that stuff. Construction is estimated to take about 15 months, and we are on track to open this school in the 2025 school year. Again, that is a 2022 bond-funded contract for approval.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Ms. Anton, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
And my last one is the last of the 2022 bond, addition to Cooper Academy. Again, after the RFQ process and in interviews, we selected Wimco Corporation out of Washington, NC to provide the CM services for that project. We negotiated to a fee of 4%, a pre-con fee of $125,000, and an estimated GC fee of $997,492 for the construction staff and field office insurance and stuff. That one is estimated to take about 16 months, and we are shooting for it to be done for the 2025 school year as well. Again, that is a 2022 bond project.
I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Tippett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Donovan. I do have one question. Is this online? Is this within what you projected, the money?
Talking about these fees and
Right.
stuff? It's actually a little less.
Okay, that's fine. Just wondering. I didn't know if you meant that just about the first one or you meant it about all the ones that were. We were. You don't have to go back, but I just. Okay.
I'll just say negotiations were very successful, and
Okay.
we're within budget.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay.
Right,
Any
I want
other?
to thank you, Mr. Brooks, for
Yes, ma'am.
going the extra mile and making sure to negotiate the best possible outcomes with these contractors. It's not easy. They're tight on their budgets, and for you to get this done is impressive, and I want to thank you.
It's about 1.5 million.
Mr. Moore, one question I needed to ask on the HVAC controls. Does this get rid of all our MS-DOS?
At that school, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There are five more packages. We just wanted to start some and keep designing.
Any other discussion?
The only thing I have to say, and y'all, it's well known that I think that the model concept is a potential cost savings, and I've supported these three things because that horse is gone. But I continue to say there are some ways that I think over time the model has proven to be a cost savings for this county. And I understand things change, and this seems to be the construction manager at risk is the way the construction industry and the architects want to go. But I do, and I hope at the end of the process we find that we're not paying more than we should be paying.
And I want to add in that I don't think it is the way to go, and here's why. Because the overall lifespan of these schools is a lot higher to maintain as we've done it so far. They are expansive. They use a lot of land. The roof costs, we need to replace them is expensive. Heating and cooling them is expensive. Getting safety, you just heard parents come up here worried about the safety of their kids when you have a sprawling school that's hard to control. So I think all the things that Mr. Brooks has brought forward to us and the board has done so far has been in the best interest of the taxpayer and the student.
Mr. Carroll, you're referring to like the Hyatt and Associate model?
I'm just referring, our experiences with Hyatt.
Sure.
But, there are model schools out there that are two-story. You can put them on, contracted land spaces. There are pros and cons to what you just said. You've got your wings that can be closed off. One wing, could be separate. We use the same four-pipe system, I believe, in all these schools, so maintenance is the same. We used standing seam metal roofs, so I don't know that we've had to replace any roof of any school that we built in this model yet. Is that true?
Replaced, no.
No.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm not looking to get in an argument. All I'm saying is, we've not had a conversation as a board, which direction are we gonna go? We just assume that, well, model schools are old and outdated. I saw I wasn't present, but, the model school that I saw looked just like the rest of the schools that these other places presented. So, I'm just saying, I just am uncomfortable that we making a change without having a real discussion and look at, all right, is this the right way to go? I'm not saying it's the wrong way to go, and I am admitting up front that that's the way the industry seems to be going now. But, I just hope at the end of the day that we're going to be building as inexpensively as anybody. Historically, we have been below the state average. I hope we can continue.
Okay, is that all the discussion? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the Wimco Corporation CM proposal for Cooper Academy, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0. Thank you.
Thanks. That's all.
Good evening again, everyone. 2 items, both action items. The first is an administrative recommendation from the superintendent. It's for the principal position at Four Oaks Middle School, and we're bringing forward to you this evening for a 2-year contract, Ms. Lauren Watkins.
Okay, that is an action item. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Carroll. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Donovan. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
Thank you. The second item, also an action item, on behalf of Early College Academy and CTLA, we're presenting their proposed staff calendar for 2023-2024. Our office has reviewed their proposed calendar to ensure it complies with the legal guidelines as far as developing a school system calendar. And this is presented for your consideration and approval.
Okay, this is an action item. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wooten. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anton. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Britt.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Bracy. Only one item for your consideration tonight, and that is our 5th budget amendment of the year. There are only a few significant items or changes in this allotment or this request. The first one is that we have budgeted the textbook purchase that was approved by the board at the previous board meeting. So using a combination of state funds, local funds, and ESSER funds to achieve the goal there. We also received our summer reading camp allotment of $455,000 as expected. We did get a larger state transportation allotment than I was anticipating at $694,000. We should still have at least one more allotment coming for the year. So once we get that allotment from the state and we know what that dollar amount is, we'll know what amount we're going to need to cover for local, because we will need to make another local adjustment for transportation. Then we received our allotment for the state funds for low wealth teacher signing bonuses. As a reminder, this is a $1,000 bonus that comes from the state, and then another $1,000 bonus that the board matches for it, for a total of a $2,000 bonus. And this is for all teachers that were hired between July 1st and October 1st of 2022. And so that'll be paid out this upcoming month. Then we did lose $674,000 in a reversion back to the state, and this is for considered what the state calls EC head account transfers. This is where students that are enrolled at Johnston County Schools leave and go to other schools, such as a charter school or another school district. Those schools request funding for those students, so the funding follows the child. The odd thing is that our student enrollment is also growing, but we don't receive funds to offset that amount. So it's a one-way transfer in that regard. We are covering the loss with ESSER funds, so no local funds will be used to offset that this year. And then we also received our PRC 063 allotment of $1.3 million that we've been waiting on from the state. And that's a summary of the significant changes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this budget amendment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Woot. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion or questions?
Can you explain a little bit about the reversion? And is it, was the fund reversion just for exceptional children, or was it for all children?
It was just for exceptional children. So we've already had our reversion for all other children, and this one lagged behind pretty significantly. Just got it in March, where the other reversion was, I think, either November or December. And so just to expand on it a little bit, it's, let's say we get 100 children that come to Johnston County schools enroll this year, and then next year they leave and go to a charter school. So the state doesn't know necessarily at the beginning of the school year that which children are going to the charter school. And so they may underfund the charter school of what their head count is, or their per pupil allotment. It's because the state doesn't know what that allotment is. And so what they'll do is they'll go back in and clear up any discrepancies during the year. And they'll say, okay, well, you got 100 from Johnston County schools, you got 50 from Wake County schools, you got 10 from Wilson. And so we're going to claw back funds from all those districts and put it into the allotment for the charter or the other LEA. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be a charter, it could be another school district. The thing about us is that we are funded at the cap. So we there's two models. There's a maximum that you can get. So you receive $5,000 some odd per student, per EC student or student with IEP, up to 13% of your total population of students. And so Johnston County Schools has greater than 13%, which means that all the students that are beyond that 16 or that 13% mark, we receive absolutely $0 per student in extra EC funding. So it's an odd funding model, but it's the one that's in place. And what ends up hurting us is that when that money is clawed back, we never really got the money to begin with. So it's kind of an unusual situation that the funding situation that we have for us for EC funding.
So again, we have another unfunded mandate
Yes,
that we're
ma'am.
required to meet the needs of these children. We don't have the funds to do it. And then when part of that 13% revert to a different school, they pull the funds back.
That's right. They pulled back money that we never got in the first place.
Yeah, because like you said, they've taken money from us that we didn't really ever get for those kids. But if you ask DPI, if you tell DPI, well, you're not funding us per child, they'll say, oh, yes, we are. And they take that, what is it per child, 6,500, 6,400, 6,000?
Like
We'll
that,
just
yeah.
take a round figure, 6,000. What they do is take 13% and pay you 6,000 per child. But they spread it out. They say, well, we didn't give you 6,000 a child, we gave you 4,000 a child. Because they're trying to spread it out over every child, but they're taking back from us more than they're giving us.
Right. And this year
If they even say they're giving it, it's crazy.
And this year was exceptionally large because we had a charter school. That's right.
I think there's always been some reversion, but
There has.
nothing this significant. Right.
And I think to be a little bit fair on the other side, our enrollments dropped during COVID, and they've been slow to restart, but I think this year has built up more quickly. So the state always overestimates when they fund us for the year.
Well, this would have been based on the April 1 child
1st.
count.
That's right, April 1st,
That
2022.
That gives you your state funds, is April 1 child count of the year before.
And to my point, though, that up to the April number was a little bit of a slow start, and I think we've seen kids coming back in more numbers, especially as these subdivisions have opened.
Yes.
So
And am I right that the majority of school systems bust that 13% cap?
Yes, I mean, it varies district to district.
Statewide, pretty much everybody goes over that 13% allotment, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, a lot of districts do, and it varies widely district to district. We've got some neighboring districts that don't meet the 13% threshold. So you know, I've
And
heard.
I'm sure the state sends those funds to the, to the counties that really need it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No
I wish it worked that
redistribution.
way. That's right.
Good discussion. Any more discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the budget amendment, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
Thank you.
Just want to say, Mr. Britt, the board report looks good with your expenditures percentages remaining. Looks like you're tracking
Yes, sir.
right where you want to be.
Yes, sir. On target. We are spending fund balance. We have 13 million budgeted, but we won't spend that much this year. We're looking to see now what our final allotments are from the state, and then look at our vacancies and inflation and put all that together, and we'll have a good projection here very soon. I don't know about that. Just remember this time when I have all good news. Remember this time.
He's still thinking about the cliff.
Yeah, 2024, 2025. It is coming.
I see a lot of 70s on this report, 70% spent,
Yes.
which is perfect because we're about to start our fourth quarter.
That's correct.
So I just want to commend you. We're tracking very well on this report.
And we always spend state funds first, and then we spend local dollars last. We always protect our county dollars the most. So, yes, sir.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Ms. Furr?
I don't typically have the pleasure of coming before you for anything other than special recognition, so I'm excited to do that tonight. I have 2 action items and 1 item for information for you. The first item I have is our contract for website services. We are at the end of a 3-year contract for our website, mobile app, mass notification, and 2-way communication for teacher and guardians services. Establishment of services is needed at this time to continue and improve upon our current communication practices. The Office of Communication is recommending that we enter a 1-year contract agreement with Aptigee for all aforementioned communication tools for a total estimated annual cost of $240,000. And we would also incur a one-time cost of $65,750 for a custom website build and for mobile app, website, and 2-way communication tool development. The Office of Communication is seeking approval for the total cost, including one-time fees of $305,750.
This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Donovan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tippett. Any discussion? If not,
When we pay for this, how long will it take to get set up?
So we will end services with our current vendor in June. We would plan to have everything, we're bringing it to you early so that we can have everything ready to go. We plan on rolling out some very exciting and new communication tools for our families in August, but it'll be somewhat of a seamless transition on our website. You won't experience, you'll hopefully just see upgrades on our website, but we'll have new tools to roll out to families at the start of the next school year.
hopefully that could be a part of the beginning of the year.
Yes,
when-
ma'am.
Okay.
We plan to have it ready to go by August 1 for everything that's new, if not sooner, so that we can just go ahead and start promoting orientation
Right.
times, back to school information, have parents update or download our new mobile app, and it's just going to be a wealth of information and communication tools for our families.
I think it's important to point out that changing over from Blackboard has been carefully thought out.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
The current system has not been working well in terms of the communication and the staff's ability to navigate.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
That this is
So
going to be better for us.
We have, I shared with you earlier, we have been with Blackboard for a very long time, for as long as I've been in this seat. And Blackboard was very recently bought out by another company. And things were they kind of shifted and changed. We didn't want to stay stagnant in our services. We wanted to make sure that we were getting the best that is out there. We put together a committee of folks who are using this product, principals, folks in our SEL department, our ESL department, those in digital learning, those in student information, and we gathered feedback, and they were part of the informal bid process. It was a group effort to decide what is best for all of our stakeholders, and we're really excited about the things that Aptigee is going to be able to offer us. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for pointing that out.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 7-0.
Thank you. The next thing we have is for a tip line and community communication tool. We are seeking to improve upon community and stakeholder engagement on our website and mobile app platforms. We're looking to improve customer service for all parties and improve efficiency when any issues arrive by establishing tools on our website and new and updated mobile app that will streamline communication for you guys, for our staff, for our families. And we're recommending that we enter a 1-year contract agreement with K-12 Insight to implement Let's Talk for a total estimated annual cost of $136,900.
Okay, this is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Wooten. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. 7-0.
And the last item I have for you is just for information purposes. We have been seeking out ways to improve workflow services and kind of streamline things, automating processes. You'd be surprised how much of this we have still around. Now, it's good for a lot, but it's also, can kind of bog things down. So we were looking at ways to eliminate paper, to eliminate and improve workflow services. We reached out to a lot of different companies, got lots of good feedback, and are entering a 1-year agreement with Droplet. They are going to provide us with services to streamline processes, make workflows a lot easier, put beginning of the year registration forms online for parents, and really just make it a more efficient process for everyone. And we're entering a 1-year contract with them with an annual cost of $89,000. And that is all I have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Pierce.
I hear the sun's still shining. Good evening, board members. I have 3 original and then a 4th one that you all added in the amendment that I would like to go over. So the first one is for the purchase of 400 interactive panels. This would be replacing current panels that are no longer working. They will be the portable panels, and it's at a total cost of $905,549.11. This is for action.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Mr. Wooten. Any discussion?
Yeah, just to update, I think the parents and people at home that may not understand this, we have a lot of smart boards that are retiring out, and these are going to replace those, correct?
The old ones that are on the wall that have the big long arms, it's replacing and upgrading, yes.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a, no, let's vote. We don't need a motion again. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is for the purchase of 360 CTE desktop and monitors. This is a request to approve this for Y&S Technologies. They will replace end-of-life VDI systems and services for the CTE department, and it's a ESSER 2 funded project for a total of $393,505. It's an action item.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval for the for these 360 CTE desktops.
So moved.
Mr. Donovan, motion. Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
And again, CTE is Career and Technical Education. These are going to be put into labs for the use of students, is that correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
How many schools does this affect?
It's middle and high schools. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's all of them. I think it's 12 CTE virtual desktop labs in middle and high schools. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And then the last technology purchase is for 1,400 charging carts. As I've shared with some board members before, we put a survey out to our schools when we went to one-to-one in a rush when COVID happened, and we were trying to get as many devices as we could into students' hands. We didn't purchase at the time places to store them, and now throughout our schools, we either have them as a distraction on the desk, as teachers may share with us, and they don't have anywhere to put them, or we're running into issues that chargers are getting missing constantly, or they're sitting in milk crates, or whoever else knows where they're at. And so this is a recommendation based on an RFP to purchase 1,400 charging carts with ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds at a total cost of $3,606,000. And this is an action item.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wooten, second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
And this will go in all the middle and the elementary.
So these, they will all have access to these, correct. There are some schools, and I think it's important to recognize, like for instance, Thanksgiving Elementary, when they were built, they were already built with somewhere to store their devices, so some schools may not need them.
We kind of had a lengthy discussion in the pre-board agenda meeting that was publicly noticed. And we talked at length about this because it's a $3.6 million expenditure. It's a large amount of money, but we have computers that are stored in places they shouldn't be stored. They can get damaged. They're not being charged properly. We have a lot of issues surrounding a lot of the very expensive technology we've purchased, and this will get it all in one spot. And they have, what was the lifespan on these carts?
10 years. And
So
they
they-
are under lock, it's secure, we can lock them. The biggest thing is charging ability right now. The carts have a rolling charge. You can plug them into one 110 outlet versus plugging up a bunch of outlets throughout your home like it's Christmas and trying to plug everything in at the same time, so.
Well, and these are also the devices which we have been purchasing here for several years, which, you know, it's good to know that these devices can go right into these carts. It's not any additional expense except the carts.
And we've also gotten feedback from some of the students that they want a spot to put these computers away so they can get more direct instruction from the teachers as well.
Right. It says an action item. I'll entertain a motion. We did have a motion, didn't we? Yeah, I'm sorry. I get so wrapped up in the discussion. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 7.
And the last item before you is, the School Nutrition Department currently has 52 school nutrition assistant vacancies. We contract with a temporary service, Mitchell Temporary Service Agency, to help fill these positions with subs. We are currently reaching the limit that we can, without board action, meet to get temporaries, and so we are requesting that we get the consent for you all to increase our current purchase order with Mitchell's Temporary to $249,000 to finish out the year, so we can have temps from that agency working our cafeterias.
Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself from this vote. They're a customer of mine.
Okay. Well, let me have a motion to allow Mr. Wooten to be recused.
So moved.
And I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of Mr. Wooten being recused, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
Comes out of school nutrition, yes, sir.
Financially sound to go that route.
Yes, sir, we are. With this many vacancies, we are very financially sound right now.
Too sound.
Yes, sir.
I entertain a motion.
So move.
Do I have a second? Mr. Carroll? Any further discussion? Is this sort of the max of what you're thinking?
Just to finish out the year,
Right.
yes, ma'am.
Right. Any other discussion?
Do you have any plans on how we're gonna hire and retain cafeteria staff for the next year? Have you thought about that?
So we're hoping to bring to you all in May a pretty robust plan for how we do our buses. And hopefully that will answer that question at the same time. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was going to ask you about buses, but I'll hold off until.
Well, all I would say is get ready. We're going to bring you a plan that hopefully eliminates and also rewards those that are driving our buses.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of this contract for school nutrition services, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 7-0. Thank you. 6-0. That's right. I'm sorry, 6-0. All right. Hearing with no other business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. I have a second. Mr. Wooten, we are adjourned. Thank you.